well. So good to see you. Come on in, come on in. Um, all right. Welcome to Money in the Morning. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Money in the Morning is where we get together and we talk about our economics and we build our black wealth and we build for the next generation. And we do this 7 days a week, at every morning at 10 a.m. in case you don't know. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a text message to you guys to let you guys know the class is beginning. If you want to be on the text list for this class, just text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. I hope everybody's feeling good today. It's a Sunday. We've had a couple days to recover from our financial slumber party. The other day was kind of wild. It's kind of crazy, you know. Some people got killed that night, but it was okay. We all we're gonna move on now. And I wanted everybody to know that if you wanted to get the recording of everything that we covered that night. We covered the Black Wealth Pyramid. And basically, what we did was we went through wealth building strategies for every level of wealth, what you should do if your wealth level is low, what you should do if it's medium, what you should do if it's high, all the things to look out for, stuff like that. So we did a sort of a whole complete recovery plan, power plan for anybody that wants to know the very direct ways to build massive amounts of wealth in a very short amount of time, which is a mix between, I'd say it's a mix between your culture, your choices, your education, things like that. So for those who don't want financial education, please pray for them. All right. What I want to do is start our Sunday off, yes, Lord, by and it's a big week. We got the convention's going to be this week, and it's good. Like holy crap, that's always like a great time of the year, and I'm super excited. But at the same time, you got a million things to kind of think about. So at the end of the convention, I'm always kind of mentally drained and exhausted a little bit. But I love the convention. It's the best time of the year. So much fun. And by the way, I wanted to mention to anybody who wants to come to the convention. Number one, we do have a bonus day on Sunday where we're going to cover everything from stock options to stock market stuff, economic elevation training. We're going to do a RISE event, real estate insurance, stock market investing, and entrepreneurship. You don't want to miss that. So make sure the National Business League, their conference goes from Thursday till Saturday. We go all the way to Sunday. So all of the Black Business School students who get an all Black National Convention pass can come to the Sunday bonus day where and it's limited space. So make sure you get there early. And we're going to go all day and we're going to just lay it down. Lots of networking, lots of connecting, lots of wealth building. And it's really, it's really a great place for really serious people. And in fact, last night I was going through a lot of the stuff we've done on how to make money without working. And a lot of you are doing really well with the stock options. A lot of you have more money in your pocket. And so I'm going to actually dig deeper into that. So I'm actually going to speak to you about some developments in that area that I think you're going to really like. So if you want to join us on that bonus day, and you want to know more about the convention, you go to allblacknationalconvention.com. And I'm going to talk to you a lot because what's happened is that there's like so much stuff to do that I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by all the different things that are available. What I'm going to do is text you guys information about exactly what we're doing with the All Black National Convention, but then you'll also have access to the broader Black Business National Business League as well and what they're doing. So you're really getting, two for one, five for one, that kind of thing. So this is literally the greatest, biggest convention ever. We've never ever pulled together this much in one place before. It's going to be really powerful. The website is allblacknationalconvention.com. If you want information and updates, just text the words A, B, and C to the phone number 87948. So text A, B, and C to 87948, and I will bring you guys in on that. All right. Let's see. Let me pop in and see who's here. Hey Amani, how are you? I see Amani's in here. I didn't know that Amani would that you were coming in today, but I'm glad you're here. And so Amani, who lives in Atlanta, she's also available to answer any questions you have, whether it's about the convention or anything else. And it's going to be just an amazing experience. So I want you to come there prepared to network. I want you prepared to succeed. I want you prepared to find that next $100,000 move if that's where you're at, or that $1 million move if that's where you're at, or that $1 billion move if you're that much audacity, because somebody in that room is going to make $1 billion move. Somebody's family is going to be, in billionaire status in the next generation. And how do I know these things? Well, because I don't speak just to make you feel good. I speak because this is financial science, right? Remember, when you have a PhD in finance, it's a different level of understanding. It's like the difference between knowing how to drive a car versus knowing how to design an automobile and understand every single aerodynamic, every single engine system, all these other things, right? So when people say that they have a certain license or they have an MBA, that's like Michael Jordan watching little league children play basketball. Like it's not the same level. Or somebody saying I was the city champion, in high school. You're like, yeah, but I won the NBA finals, right? So it's a different level of understanding. And I want that confidence that I have to be instilled in you. I'm very confident in finances just because I've obsessed over it. I obsessed over it for 30 years, right? Every day, 10 hours a day of constant work, constant study on this topic. And so I want to transfer that confidence to you to let you know that it's not that hard. It's really not that complicated to have money in America. It's really not. And I'm not trying to belittle those who are struggling. I'm not trying to act like poor people don't exist. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm just here to really just demystify. I mean, a lot of these false myths about money, they come from people that either don't have money, don't understand money, or they're trying to get you to do something other than focus on getting money. If you focus on getting your money up, then your money will come up. That just like people, I know guys who focus on getting girls, and they always have a lot of girlfriends. I know people who focus on fun and clubbing, and they always know where the best clubs are. I had no idea where the best clubs were. I didn't because I didn't club. That was not my thing, right? Or if you look at another area of black excellence that I find is so interesting to me is like step shows. I would have friends that would swear all day that they couldn't pass a math test. But when they got to the step show, they were pristine. You ever seen like a really pristine step show? Because we have a standard of excellence when it comes to step shows. Like you can't do a step show and be raggedy. Like people will like make fun of you. So people will show up and they're stepping and barking and moving in sync, and the girls are doing this and doing, you know what I mean? And everybody's like it's like flowing together, and it's like wow, look at those moves. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. And it's not because it's not disrespectful. I probably because I know we got Greek people in here, so I love all y'all. If you're AKA, my sister's a AKA, so you're like my sister-in-law. So love the AKAs, love the Deltas, the Qs, Cap, whatever you are, keep being that. I'm not making fun of you, but I'm dead serious. I'm gonna be honest with you. As a guy I did get invited to join all the fraternities, and I was like, how am I gonna master that and master my academics at the same time? I couldn't figure that out. Now, some people are smarter than me. Some people can do both. I couldn't do both. I can't master it. I can't spend 40, 50, 60 hours prepping for a step show and still, have the highest GPA on the entire campus. That was not in my wheelhouse at that point. But really, I think it's really interesting though when you see like this black excellence in so many other areas, but when it comes to areas where we don't have as much confidence or as much experience, or areas where we have mislabeled ourselves, we tend to sort of shrivel up like a dead flower, right? You ever seen there was this athlete who was in my class when I was on the faculty of Syracuse. He was a star football player, and he was the only black kid in my class, and he had the worst score on every test. And of course, me being black and him being black, I brought him to my office and I said, what's going on, man? I don't understand this. I don't understand how, I said, you have to work, you have one of the lowest scores on every test. But I see you out there every Saturday and you are out here just kicking butt on the football field. I said, when I played football, I got kicked off the team because I couldn't memorize the playbook. And I'm talking about sixth grade football. I think I had my ADHD or something. I would be sitting in practice and the coach would be explaining the plays and I'd be like looking off in the distance. And then he would he'd be like, boys, go in. I'd go in and I'd never forget. He said, okay, we're going to run a 44 blast. And I'm like, what the hell? What the fuck is a 44 blast? And I'm like, I'm nervous, right? Because I was the backup running back. And my friend Rico was the start. He was the starter. He was so much better. He played for Vanderbilt and tried out for the Bengals or something. Like so I wasn't ever going to be the starter, but that was okay with me. I could run back kickoff returns. So I'm sitting in the back and they said, hut. And I ran to the right and the whole team ran to the left. I had no when I took a bet. I said we either gonna go right or left. I'm gonna bet on right. So I got it wrong, and immediately the coach is like, "Get off the field," because he could tell. Like, see, so this was my experience. So I said to him, I said, I don't understand this. Here's what I'm confused by. I said, you memorize playbooks this thick because you're playing at the college level. You go out in front of, 80,000 people in the stands and however many people are watching at home, and this massive audience, and you show up and you dominate as an athlete. I said, so if you can do all of that, then you can pass this stupid little finance test. It's just effort. Like why would you put effort over here? No effort over there. And I don't know if I brought up Michael Jordan or not, but Michael Jordan always I was always impressed by Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan put effort. He put his greatness into everything he did. That's why he has more, probably 10 times more money now than he ever did when he was playing for the Bulls. The amount of money he makes every year with Air Jordan now, and I know Larry Miller, the former CEO of the Air Jordan brand, he came to the convention in 2022 and spoke. The amount of money he makes now is probably 10 times greater than the money he made at the height of his career as a Chicago Bull. And that's because he just believes in excellence in everything he does. And so anyway, after this conversation, it must have worked. His next test, he got like an 89 or something on the test. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right. So I think Black excellence means it's a way of life. It just means I'm going to do my best at everything that matters to me. And also, so it means two things. One, I got to think about carefully, consciously. I got to have financial consciousness, which we talk about in the B1 space. B1's Black first, right? In the Black first space, where we put ourselves at the top of our priority list when we're going to rebuild, we're going to make our communities great. We always go for consciousness. Consciousness means not only am I going to do my best at everything I do, but I'm also going to spend time thinking about what I'm going to do in the first place. Like, where am I? What matters to me? Am I going to go out and just be the best stripper or the best twerker on the planet? Am I trying to just be the best rapper? Am I trying to be the best basketball player? Or am I trying to be the best accountant? Am I trying to be the best scientist? Am I trying to be the best father? Am I trying to be the best mother? Am I trying to be the best family man? Am I trying to be the best son that I can be to my mother? Am I learning these things? Am I learning how to be a great husband to my wife so I can keep the family together so we can protect our wealth? Am I learning how to be a great dad to my children so my children will grow up and want to work in the family business instead of abandoning the family business, which costs the Black community in the trillions of dollars every year, right? So when you think about why the Black community's broke. What's really interesting in my view is that I've looked at the survey numbers in terms of how you guys are doing. Most of you have more money as a result of us being in here and being involved in the stock market and all that. And I told you it's the biggest wealth builder in the history of the world. But so you're really, unfortunately, you're kind of disconnecting from those who are struggling. But if you look around and you see so many people that are still struggling, I want you to start analyzing, like, why are they struggling? And then I want you to look back and say, well, what are they putting their attention into? What matters to them? What are they really getting when they get riled up, fired up, and spend a lot of time on things? What are they spending time on? And I see a lot of people spending a lot of time on a whole bunch of damn nothing. Tell me if you've seen this. I've seen a whole bunch of people spend a whole lot of time on stuff that, quite frankly, is just a bunch of absolute bullshit. Ain't no reason why sitting watching an Instagram live about Cardi B and her ex-husband's baby mamas is gonna do anything for your life other than give you entertainment. I do not understand. I do not know a single, you know, person in any Greek letter organization who ever made $10 million by having the perfect step show in college. I'm not making fun of that. Step shows are amazing. I love to watch them. They're so much fun to watch. But I'll never do them, not because I don't care, but because I ain't got time for that, man. I'm trying to be excellent in the things that matter. What are the, not to say this doesn't matter. I have to be real careful because I have so much respect for everybody in the Greek letter organization. So do not take offenses. But I'm really trying to understand like where what matters. You got to prioritize. And prioritization doesn't just come with sometimes countering the culture. Like somebody, I made that. I sometimes I say stupid stuff on my Twitter, and I think I said something like, I said, "Yeah, am I the only one who doesn't think that guy Drewski too funny is not funny at all?" Like I've watched him, and I've been like, he called Drewski too funny. He's gonna make me laugh. Okay, be too funny, and I'll watch, and I'll be like, I don't get it. It's not funny. Right. But maybe I think too much, or maybe, and then somebody said, Dr. Boyce, you're just not part of the culture. I said, I don't think I am. I'm not part. I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know nigga culture. I don't. I know it. I watch it. I observe it, but I know it from a distance because I never wanted to be a nigga. I never want to be a young nigga. They call YN culture. Kyrie Irving said the same thing. He said, "I don't want to be a YN. Why do I want to be a YN? Why would you brag about that, right?" But still, though, it's fine. But really, what I want you to kind of process is what culture matters to you. What culture do you want to be a part of? I think you want to at least tell me if you agree be part of the wealth culture. Wealth culture meaning that you got assets, financial security. Can't no white man knock at your door and take away your livelihood and take away everything that makes you happy and safe. No white man can fire you and have you like screaming and going crazy because you can't pay your bills anymore, right? There's nobody that can really rattle your cage too much because everything financial is kind of taken care of, and your kids are good, and your kids are not out in the street trying to just scramble and survive because there was no preparation plan. I've laid the plan out for you 10,000 times and in 10,000 ways right here in this space. Right? Maybe the culture is family culture. I think that if you look at the basic mathematics, it's very simple. It's really so straightforward. Lack of family tends to lead to lack of wealth. So getting along with family will improve your wealth. Did I say that simple enough for everybody to get what I'm saying? It's that basic. So when you look at someone who's struggling financially, I want you to look around them and say, who do you have helping you? Where's your family at? Just like that nurse who was gracious enough to do that video where she was talking about all the 50 and 60 something year old black men that she meets in the stroke ward and who are sitting in there by themselves and ain't nobody changing their diapers, ain't nobody checking on them, ain't nobody doing nothing. And she would say, so well, who's helping you? Where's your family at? Where's your wife at? And what she'll find is that the men are deficient because they never made any investments. And I'm not talking about financial investments. I'm talking about investments in people. They never invested in people. They thought that chasing sex was the most important thing that a man can do, and that you should never commit to anything. Why would you commit when you got 10,000 women that you could date at any moment? And so they get in their 50s, and then suddenly things go bad, and they because they did not do a proper risk assessment, they end up in scenarios where suddenly they need help and they have nobody to help them. Why? Because you didn't pour into people. If you pour into people, they'll pour into you. If you don't pour into them, they're going to ignore you. Okay. So ultimately, when you think about your strategy and what culture you want to be a part of, I think wealth culture is powerful. Family culture, strong black families, like meaning not just that I want to have a strong black family, but I'm going to consciously do the things that are necessary for me to have a strong family. Do you understand? And doing the things means emotional growth. Like nothing will make you grow will make you grow more emotionally than being married. Being married takes patience. It takes, you have to be able to empathize. All these things that you never see people talking about on the internet when they all chasing ass and trying to see who's got the biggest penis. None of these things come up on these internet conversations, but literally being in a long-term marriage requires you to like know when to shut the hell up. It requires you to know male or female. It requires you to know when to submit to the relationship. It requires you to know when to be conscious enough to remember what the long-term goal is. So if I'm arguing with my wife, I watch my damn mouth. I'm not going, and she better watch her mouth when she talks to me because I'm her husband. And why does that matter? Well, because when you're in that situation, you're in the heat of battle. You got to be careful. You got to ask yourself, if I say this thing I want to say right now, well, how's that going to play out for me in the next 5 years? Because in 5 years, you won't remember what you were arguing about, but you will remember in 5 years whether or not your family fell apart or not. So ultimately, what's another culture? I don't know. Let's think here. Maybe a culture based on mental and physical health, right? I'm healing, I'm learning, I'm doing therapy, I'm exercising, I'm doing all the things that are going to help me get away from nigger culture. Right. Unfortunately, what they define as the YN culture, I'm not going to say the N word anymore because it's not a fun word to say. But literally, if you look at what people identify as Black culture, they don't identify as wealth culture, financial security culture. They see it as a broke struggle culture. You always in the struggle, you always in the trap. Everything's always hard, money's always tight. When they look at Black culture, they don't see that as strong family culture. They see it as baby mamas, baby daddies fighting each other, kids out in the street shooting each other up, families disconnected completely. I don't know my mama, I don't know my daddy. I was raised by my grandparents, all these other things. That's how they see Black culture. That's not what our culture is supposed to be. Also, when they look at Black culture, they don't see mental health. They're scrolling through the internet and they see people fighting on a Carnival cruise, or somebody busting a bottle up somebody's head, or some pregnant girl getting punched in the face by some girls that want to bully her. They see lots of trauma responses and lots of chaos, and that's very entertaining And that's why ratchet culture gets so much money because white people are like, this is so much fun to watch. It's so much fun watching them kill each other. Just like on the plantation when we used to let two black people get together, two big black bucks, and they would fight to the death until one of them was dead. And we would pay money and bet money. And we just loved it. We love it when the Negroes kill each other. So to some extent, that's what you still see to this day. They don't identify black culture as being physically healthy, right? Black culture is identified as fried chicken, soul food junkies like Byron Hurt. I think it's Byron Hurt. I think that was his name. Who did a documentary called Soul Food Junkies? They identify that as diabetes, preventable diseases, kidney failure, dialysis. They put the dialysis clinics in the black neighborhood because they can make so much money from that, and fast food and everything else, right? So, what is the culture that you're going to consciously embrace? And a lot of people are part of that culture and don't even know it. Right. But when you are part of a culture, not only do you commit to certain standards in terms of how you choose to live your life, but you also study the culture you want to be a part of. Don't believe me? Look at how many millions of black people have spent billions of dollars going to big, expensive white universities to learn how to be white on the job, to learn how to get that job at PricewaterhouseCoopers. I don't even know if that company's still around, but to know how to get that job at General Electric or Humana, right? We will spend years training how to get a job that you may get fired from anyway because you're black and it's a Tuesday. But yet we don't spend time studying how to be part of the culture that we want to be a part of. But the same way you got to study how to get a job working for that white man, you also have to study how to build a family with that black woman. You should be studying how to raise those black babies because that's your most valuable asset. I don't know who told you that your stupid job was your most valuable asset. That's not an asset. I talked to a young lady I mentor, and she was saying that she was broke because she doesn't have any. She said, I feel like I'm struggling because I don't have any money in the bank and I feel like I'm still at the bottom and I'm broke. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, you're not broke. You just don't have any money. I said, you're very wealthy. You just don't have cash. Cash are, those are those little green pieces of paper that are declining in value every year, but they're worth something, but that's not everything. Don't you? I said, don't you ever tell me that you're broke just because you ain't got no money. Wealth is not just money. I said, look at you. I said, you have a college degree. You have been busting your butt to 38 years old. You have so much experience. You have connections. You have a platform. You have all these. I said, so your problem is not a wealth problem because you got wealth. You got wealth. You are a wealthy person. You need to understand me when I tell you that I can show you 1,000 mathematical theories that prove that you are a millionaire right now. So you got wealth. Your problem is not a wealth problem. Your problem is a monetization problem. Your problem is not a well, you're not it's not a wealth problem. It's a liquidity problem. Liquidity and monetization is the ability to convert your wealth into cash. I said, so here's what you are. I said, you're like a person who says, damn, I'm broke. I can't pay the light bill. And I say, man, that sucks. But then I look at your wall and I see that you have $1 million painting on the wall. Right. And I say, wait, but how are you broke? You have $1 million painting on the wall. And you say, yeah, but I know I'm broke because I don't have any cash. But I would say, no, but you have this $1 million paint on the wall. And so how can you be broke? And so your problem is not like, oh, I'm poor. How do I not be poor? Your problem is how do I find a buyer for this $1 million painting so I can convert that into cash? Or how do I borrow against it? How do I take it out and go to a bank and get a bank loan and use this as collateral so I can get the cash I need to make transactions? Liquidity, that they call that liquidity, the ease with which an asset is converted into cash. Or maybe I can rent it out to rich people so they can put it in their house and say it'll cost you 3,000 a month to have my painting in your house, right? That solves the liquidity problem. So most of you, this is why you are so dependent on the white man. This is why you are constantly chasing jobs and constantly chasing false opportunities that they claim to create for you is because you've never truly understood the liquidity and the monetization problem. And what happens is they solve it for you, and you have to pay what is referred to in finance as a transaction cost. You have to give up something because they take what is valuable that's inside of you and they convert it into cash. And then they take their cut, and then you get your little bit of money. So your boss says, "Oh, boy, you are smart. You went to a HBCU and they taught you everything about how to manage a business. but they didn't teach you how to create a business because that's what they taught me at Yale. So why don't you, boy? So why don't you come work for me? Because I created the business. You know how to manage the business. I want to own the business, but I don't want to run the damn business. So since you've been trained to serve me the same way that lady was trained to serve Eddie Murphy in Coming to America, remember he's like, so what do you like? Whatever you like. So tell me, how did you grow up? I was trained to serve you. I was trained to give you. So what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, right? So that's how we're like that little girl hopping on one leg. Remember, she was hopping, woof, woof, woof. And he's like, bark like a big dog, right? That's what we do. So they say we want you to hop on one leg. We start hopping on one leg. We want you to bark, bark like a big dog, right? And that's what we do because we will do anything to get access to what he's got. We'll bend over backward, flip, twist ourselves into a pretzel. We even do a code switching. We learn a whole freaking language just so we can get into their space. And we will sit and beg and hold a picket sign and let us in and dedicate our whole lives to the sole purpose of serving white people enough to get access to whatever he's got on the other side of that magical wall, right? Which is liquidity. It ain't wealth. It ain't wealth. He's got wealth too, sure. But you can't tell me black people are not wealthy. When you're black, first of all, your culture is $1 trillion culture. That's a fact. Um, your families are $1 billion, $1 million, $1 billion families. You have billions of dollars. When black families stick together and work, go look at an example of a black family where they've all stayed tight and they build business together and they work together. That's millions of dollars in free labor right there and expertise. So you've already got wealth. What you don't have is liquidity. You're like, I have this bachelor's degree and I'm a hardworking person. I've got plenty of free time. I've got some connections. I've got some lots of skill and energy, but I ain't got no bread. So let me go find the nearest white business so that I can go and convert this wealth into cash. The problem though is that you have something called the transaction cost. The transaction cost is the cost you pay to solve your liquidity problem. Does that make sense? Let me know. Let me like I'm using a lot of financial terms today. Give me a yes if you're getting what I'm saying here. Let me know if you're picking up what I'm putting down because I want to make sure that I don't lose anybody on this. Because and in fact, I dare say I've never heard anybody else really break it down like that before, but I really, really want to do this. I didn't even plan on really talking about this, but it came to my mind. And when God tells me to talk, I just start speaking. So here's the problem. Here's what black people need to do. Solve your liquidity problem. If you can solve your monetization and liquidity problem, then what happens is you unlock all this wealth that's already sitting there. It's like no, it's like I'm broke. I can't afford a sandwich, but I've got $1 billion worth of oil in the ground. I can either A, pay somebody to come and drill it up, or I can take the time to make sure that me and my children are trained on the skill set required to drill into the ground and pull that shit out. Why are you going to college and spending 4 years learning all the wrong stuff? That's what happens. You have millions of black kids that go to college. Well, what do you do? I major in business management. Well, how about you major in how to create a business first? Then you can manage the thing you create. What you gonna manage? That's like saying I studied how to drive cars. But do you have a car? No, but I'm looking for somebody that's gonna bring one so I can drive it for him. I want to drive Miss Daisy. Well, how are you gonna get to the top when you're aiming for the bottom? You don't get to the top by aiming for the bottom. You get to the top by aiming for the top. Do you know how I told you all this story, a little bit of my backstory about how I got on national TV? I got on national TV because I had people that tried to do what I did, and they would start with local TV networks. They would start doing local media and then hope that they could work their way up to national media. I said, why not just start in national media instead of me? The same energy it takes for me to call 8 local TV stations is the energy it takes for me to call CNN and CBS and ABC. So I might as well just start at the top. So what you aim for makes a big difference in what you actually get. Also, it impacts your possibilities, and what you aim for also is a product of how you see yourself. A lot of us aim for the bottom because we don't think we deserve nor are we capable of getting anything that's up at the top. We don't see ourselves as the boss. We don't see ourselves as the landlord. We don't see ourselves as the owner of assets because if we did, we would be training our children on all those things. We would not be training our children on how to go get jobs. I don't have any, I have complete respect for everybody in here who has a job, and I'm really happy for you if you have a job you love. If your boss is treating you right, then keep on treating them right because it sounds like it's a good relationship. I am happy for you. You are blessed. God bless you. But what I see so often, I mean, literally 95% of you, when you have jobs, you're not happy with that job. You don't feel like that's the best of what God had in store for you. And I would dare say that if you want to understand why so many of us end up in these crazy, unfortunate situations, I would go back and look at the culture. How were you raised? How were you led to even think about money? Who told you, like when you had your first experience on what it means to get money, what you have to do to obtain it? What did they tell you? Did they say, "Oh, here, let me show you how to sell stock options so you can make money without working"? Or did they say, you got to go get a job? Like they hiring down at the post office. Why would you want to spend your life at the post office unless you just love stamps that much? If you're a stamp collector, then I get it. But if you're not a stamp collector, then get your ass up at the post office and go make some investments. I'm not making fun of you though. Thank you, everybody who delivers our mail. God bless you, and thank you for that. I have to make sure I'm clear about that. But I am saying that after you finish serving America, I really want you to turn around and serve yourself. After you finish doing what he wants you to do, I need you to come back and do what God wants you to do. I want you to do what your family wants you to do. And I can tell you, these conversations, they seem simple, but these are very high level financial discussions that we have in this room every day. These are very high level. I look at them as sacred. In fact, my self-esteem is so high that I don't even, there's not a single job on the planet anyone can offer me that would make me walk away from the job of talking to you every day. I literally, deep to the core of my soul, feel that this is the most important thing I could be doing on this earth. So if they called me tomorrow and said, "We want you to be I don't know, the head of the Federal Reserve," I would say, "I'm sorry, but I'm doing something more important." If they say, "Hey, we want you to be president of Harvard University," I'd say, "I'm sorry, but that's not important to me. What's important is what I'm doing right now because we're sending the dope right to the bloodstream." Right, we're medicating, we're fixing a problem, we're doing financial surgery on a community that needs it very badly because there's so much to overcome. There's so many centuries of nonsense that's been shoved into our brain about who we are and what we're supposed to accomplish and aim for that it's like a detox. It's a freaking detox. We are addicted to serving white people. And so anyway, let me circle back up a little bit. Um Anyway, first thing I want to mention before I forget is if you came in late, I want to tell everybody that if you want to follow the All Black National Convention and get the first invitations for next year, we're going to aim for Brooklyn. Brooklyn is the plan for 2026, and we're going to set that page up and everything so you can buy your passes now. What we cannot do at this point is give you a specific date. What I want to do is narrow it down to a month, and that month is going to be October. I got to just double check with my team. It'll be on the page. I cannot nail down the specific date. But the trade-off is that if you buy the early bird passes, you can get them for like half of the regular price. So you can get it super cheap, but you don't get that clarity of knowing exactly when we'll be in Brooklyn. But Brooklyn will be the city and October will be the month. Okay. And so I'll let you guys know if you want to be notified as soon as they come out, text the word A, B, and C to the number 87948. So text A, B, and C to 87948. Also, keep this email address for our support team in case you have questions. That's support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Support at theblackbusinessschool.com. So next year, also, we're going to bring back our children's track this year. Because of the logistics, we couldn't do it this year, but I kind of want to go back to the old layout next year. So next year you can bring your kids, and I want our kids to be prepared for the future. Okay. All right. So anyway, here's something I want to show you guys. Since I sometimes I go into serious mode and it's just traumatic. So let's go to Claymation Boyce. Now, Claymation Boyce, I want to warn you, if you got kids, cover their ears because Claymation Boyce, he likes to cuss. and I tell him not to, but he doesn't listen to me. And so he has a message for you. He told me he wanted to talk to you guys today, and I said, no, Claymation Boyce, it's a Sunday because you cuss too much. But he said, no, Boyce, so you need to do this. And I said, okay, all right. So I brought him in, and I'm gonna play this video from Claymation Boyce. Let me know if you can hear this. So here it goes. What the fuck is opportunity cost? It's the money, time, or opportunities you lose every time you choose one thing over another, even if you don't see the loss right away. Every dollar you blow on dumb shit is a dollar that could have been making you more money. You dropped $300 on bottle service last weekend? Cool. That's also $300 that could have been in a stock, a business, or a savings account growing while you slept. Instead, it's now sitting in some bartender's tip jar. Opportunity cost isn't just about money, and it's about time too. You can binge Netflix for 4 hours a night, or you can learn a skill that makes you money. You can buy that shiny new gadget, or you can put that cash into something that actually appreciates. Here's the ugly truth. Every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing, and those no's add up until you wake up one day wondering why you're still broke and stuck. So yeah, spend how you want, but don't cry later when your fun now costs you your freedom later. I'm a little Claymation, Dr. Boyce, and I'll tell you right now, I don't give a fuck. I love you, and I'll see you next time. What the fuck is opportunity cost? It's the money, time, or opportunities you lose every time you choose one thing over another, even if you don't see the loss right away. Every dollar you blow on dumb shit is a dollar that could have been making you more money. You dropped $300 on bottle service last weekend? Cool. That's also $300 that could have been in a stock, a business, or a savings account growing while you slept. Instead, it's now sitting in some bartender's tip jar. Opportunity cost isn't just about money, and it's about time too. You can binge Netflix for 4 hours a night, or you can learn a skill that makes you money. You can buy that shiny new gadget, or you can put that cash into something that actually appreciates. Here's the ugly truth. Every yes to the wrong thing is a no to the right thing, and those no's add up until you wake up one day wondering why you're still broke and stuck. So yeah, spend how you want, but don't cry later when your fun now costs you your freedom later. I'm a little Claymation, Dr. Boyce, and I'll tell you right now, I don't give a fuck. I love you, and I'll see you next time. All right. So everybody was able to hear that, right? Did it come through okay? Okay, I want to make sure. And also, I played it twice because I know in the beginning maybe you didn't hear the part about opportunity cost. So what Claymation Dr. Boyce was talking about, he's a nice guy. He's kind of smart, but he's a little bit of a smart aleck. I tell him to stop cussing and stuff, and he just don't respect nobody. But anyway, the message about opportunity cost is really basic. It comes back to the word poor. Now, what does poor stand for? Put it in the chat. Remember the word poor, P-O-O-R, it's an acronym. It stands for what? Passing over opportunities repeatedly, right? It means you get opportunities to do things and you pass them over, pass them over, pass them over, just like you got that cousin. Anybody got that relative where you tried to bring them to class, you tried to introduce them to some of the stuff we talk about, and they just won't listen, and they keep passing over opportunities repeatedly, and their bank account reflects that. They're poor and they don't even know why. They're struggling and they can't understand why. Well, it's because you become good at things that you study, and if you're not studying how to be financially free, capable, financially secure, then you're not going to be very good at it. And so just like football, if I never practiced playing football, then I'm not going to be a very good football player. So if I want to be a good football player, then I go to football practice. So given that you're playing the real game, the important game, this is bigger than football, bigger than basketball. You're playing the game of life. You're playing the game of powernomics. You're playing the game of racism. You're playing the game of survival. That's an important game. Would you agree? I think that's a pretty big game. That's kind of like the Super Bowl of your life. Well, then you probably should go to some sort of financial practice so you can be ready to play this damn game against people that are absolute, complete financial predators. The white man is an economic beast. He is. I'm just the Jewish community. Oh, they don't play. They got the 7-year-olds going to Hebrew school learning how to build businesses before they get to the third grade. So are you ready for that level of competition? Because if you're not prepared, then what happens is the Warren Buffett saying kicks in. Warren Buffett used to say that wealth is nothing more than a transfer of resources from unprepared people to prepared people, from reactive people to proactive people, from unconscious people to conscious people. So if you are, excuse me, unconscious reactive and unprepared, not thinking about your future, then there's somebody sitting back here just like this, just waiting with a little Cheshire cat grin on their face, wait for you to mess up. They're waiting for you to trigger an overdraft fee on your banking account. They're waiting for you to not have enough money to buy property and to become a renter. They're waiting for you to become financially desperate and to need to get a job so they can extract wealth. They can extract that transaction cost that we talked about earlier. So preparation is the key to greatness. Preparation is the key to success. Preparation is the key to power. Sacrifice is the only pathway to wealth, typically in America. And so, last thing I want to show you, just so you can understand that this isn't just a pie in the sky conversation. This is something anybody in this room can do, no matter what your income level is. I'm going to show you one more chart before we go. Now, by the way, that a lot of this other content is on my Instagram page, which is Dr. Boyce Finance. So feel free to follow me at Dr. Boyce Finance if you want to, if you're on Instagram. And then also, I do have a podcast. It's called the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. So if you look up my name, Boyce Watkins, on Spotify, you can find the podcast there. I put stuff up there almost every day. Right. So let me show you one more thing that's on my Instagram, Dr. Boyce Finance. Check this out. This is the $5 a day plan. A lot of you all know about this, but I want to lay it out mathematically. And let's compare it to a $5 cup of coffee. Now, for $5, you can't actually get a good cup of coffee at Starbucks, but let's just pretend, okay? So here in this chart, you see that if I spend money on coffee every day, which is okay to buy coffee, I'm not telling you not to buy coffee. I'm saying that this is what you're spending if you're buying coffee every day, right? So over 5 years, I spent about $9,125, 10 years, 18,000, 15 years, 27,000, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I take that same amount of money, not a replacement, a supplement, do you understand? Let me know if you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying stop buying coffee. I'm not one of those idiots that says, oh, well, if you don't buy coffee anymore or don't buy shoes anymore, if you walk around barefoot, then you can have $1 trillion. No, you ain't got to be barefoot. You can keep drinking your coffee. You can go to on vacation. You can go to the club and pop a bottle if you want to. I'm not talking about replacing what you're doing. I'm talking about supplementing. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about eating your vegetables before you get to dessert. I'm not telling you to stop eating dessert. Enjoy your dessert. Just eat something healthy too. Okay. So here's how much money that person has in their investment account if they simply blindly invest in the S&P 500, literally just throw their money in there, grab any S&P 500 stock. This is how much money they have on average. After 5 years, they have $10,707. So let's just stop right there. Let's freaking stop right there. Let's not even get to the fun numbers. 5 years. 5 years. Let me ask you a question. If somebody says that they're poor, but they have $10,707 in their stock portfolio, would you believe them? Would you consider that person to be poor? If they say, "Man, I'm struggling, dog. It's hard out here. I can barely make it." But then you look at their Robinhood account, they have $10,707. Would that person be considered poor anymore? Okay, Veronica says yes. She's the only one I see a yes with. I don't know a single person in poverty that has $10,700 in their stock portfolio. Most people can't even come up with $1,000 for an emergency expense. So literally, all we're talking about is a 5 year sacrifice. This is how sick our country has become, that we're not even prepared to make a 5 year sacrifice for ourselves. But we'll make a 5 year sacrifice for other things. I've seen people sacrifice 5 years to try to make it to the NBA. They sacrifice like 15 years for that. I've seen people sacrifice 5 years to learn how to go work for white people. They go to college. They call it college, college and a master's degree or something like that. 4 years, 5 years, whatever, right? Um, I've seen people sacrifice 5 years for other things. I've seen people sacrifice 5 years by paying their car note on time for 5 years. In fact, some people will do that for 30 years. I've seen people sacrifice 5 years, to pay rent on time, to make sure the landlord's good because you love the landlord more than you care about yourself. Apparently, I don't know that this is your training. This is brainwashing. This is our Stockholm syndrome, right? So our financial Stockholm syndrome makes us look at ourselves in the mirror and say, "Holy crap, what am I doing?" Right? So we'll sacrifice 5 years for other things, but we don't consciously sacrifice 5 years for ourselves because I just showed you with very basic elementary mathematics that a 10-year-old can understand that just a 5 year investing sacrifice gets you out of poverty. And then let me ask you another question. Give me a yes if you agree with this. I would argue that 95% of all Black people can afford $5 a day on something. Because think about it. If we couldn't afford $5, we couldn't go to the liquor store. How many of y'all know Black people that can go to the liquor store? If we couldn't afford $5, we couldn't go buy chicken. How many of y'all know Black people who eat chicken? Anybody know a Black person somewhere who eats chicken? What do you think? If we didn't have $5, we couldn't go to McDonald's. Did you? I mean, if you look, have you looked at the prices of McDonald's value meals lately? Don't walk up in McDonald's for $5. You're gonna walk out of there hungry. So I've seen people, and Lord Jesus, don't let me get into other stuff. Don't let me start talking about those Beyonce tickets. I mean, that country Carter tour ain't cheap. I can't afford to go. I can't afford to go to the country Carter tour, but my wife could. My wife went. My wife and my sister went. So that's more like their thing. But still though, I can't afford to go to the country Carter. I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna be at home and I'll wait for you in the hotel. Have fun. Right? So we can sacrifice for things that we want, things that feel good. But can you sacrifice for things that are going to make you feel good long term? Because financial security feels really good. It feels really good to know that if you lose your job, you're going to be okay. It feels really good to know you can move through the world without money constantly blocking you from everything that you want, right? It feels really good to know that your children need something from you and you can just write a check or send a cash app. That feels really good. So the sacrifice doesn't feel bad. It's just a temporary discomfort that leads to you feeling good very long term. Like when I was in college and I studied all the time, and that was my first investment was education because I was in that mindset of like, oh, my goal is to get a good job, right? So I would study a lot, and people, thought that I was just torturing myself, like I was some sort of masochist because I just wanted to just make myself go through hell like all the time and never have any fun. And I said, no, I enjoy my life, number one, because I can have fun in between the times I study. But what I'm doing is I'm sacrificing so that I can have fun for the next 40 or 50 years. And the plan worked. I told my kids, I said, I actually enjoy my life now because of things I did when I was 19 years old. And I ain't been 19 for a long time. I've had gray hair for probably 20 years in my beard, right? So ultimately, what I encourage you to do is to really just understand that, right? So let's finish the chart so we can just so you can go, so when your cousin tells you that investing doesn't work and investing's for lames and simps, you can correct them politely. Forgive them for they know not what they do. Yeah, all right, so here's the next part of the chart. Actually, let me stop sharing my sound so I can make sure you guys can hear me. So give me a second here. All right, so let's look and see what happens if you choose to sacrifice at a very low level. This is admittedly a low level. Oh, hold on, wait, I lost my buttons. Oh no, okay, I can't. Okay, there we go. I was trying to share my screen again and it wasn't sharing properly. All right, so here we go. So let's see what happens if you make the sacrifice for 10 years. Well, after 10 years of coffee money, you've now got $26,438. This is assuming an 8% ROI. Sometimes the market goes as high as 10%, but 8% is a conservative number. 15 years, 49,000, 20 years, about 83,000, 25 years, 133, 30 years, 206,000. So a person of any income level can become wealthy within one generation. There's no person that has $200,000 in their bank account that isn't considered a well off person. Like no one will ever feel sorry for you if you say, "Oh my God, my finances are so tight," and then they see that you got $200,000 in your investment account. They're not going to believe you, right? And here's the other thing too. This is the other part where I challenge you to have a standard for yourself. I know for a fact a lot of you can afford more than $5 a day, which is $150 a month. I know for a fact that a lot of you have bills that are $450, $500, $600, $700 a month. So I know a lot of you can really quadruple this standard. So if you quadruple the standard, if you're going from $5 a day to say $20 a day, which is going from 150 a month to 600 a month, which a lot of you are paying more than that for your Mercedes Benzes and your BMWs, then those numbers really get beautiful. After 5 years, you're talking about $42,000. After 10 years, you're over 100K. After 20 years, You're sitting there, sitting on about $320,000 liquid. That's very important. After 30 years, you're not looking at 206, you're looking at about $824,000. Okay. So generational wealth is easy to acquire. And some of you have seen me go through exercises like this in different ways. And I do this because I need you to understand how important this is. And I need you to stop listening when politicians tell you that you're stuck in poverty or that you're stuck where you are, because that's simply not true. Or maybe people that don't know what we know are stuck. Then maybe we should have empathy because, because sometimes I know that because I've dissected this stuff and studied it, it comes off very simple to me, but it's not simple to everybody. So I don't want to belittle anybody else's belief. I'm just not gonna let them trump me. I got enough gray in my beard where I'm becoming John Heinrich Clark. And remember, John Heinrich Clark said, I will debate my equals. Everybody else, I'm just gonna teach. And if you don't want me to teach you, that's okay. Just get out so I can talk to people that want to listen. So this is the plan. So let me ask y'all this question so we can make sure we did something good today. Give me a yes if you're willing to make that 5 year sacrifice for your family. Everybody put a yes in the chat. This all I want you to I want to ask for is that 5 years, not 10, not 20, not 30. 5 years. Are you willing to sacrifice for 5 years? 5 years will get you out of poverty. 5 years will put you in a position where you have some degree of security and comfort. 5 years will make all the difference in the world. I think $10,000, that's a lot of money, right? And again, if you want to be more aggressive and go for $20 a day or whatever, you go for 20, then that's 40,000. That's beautiful, right? 5 years. So you get those 5 years, and then what'll happen is also it'll turn into 10 and then 20 and then 30. And next thing you know, you're in a whole different reality from so many other people. And that's out there for you. It's available to you. There is no there is no person wearing a MAGA hat who's going to block you from investing for your family. There's no person in the Democrat or the Republican parties that can block you. There's nobody that can do that. Just go do it. Just go make it happen. Right? Spend your energy on the right things, in my view. Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna go. If you like stock market stuff, you want to dig deeper, we do have a stock market investors club, drboystockmarket.com. The URL is right above my head, is a place you can go. You can do a free trial, try it out. I release a list of stocks every week. We go through, I answer questions every Tuesday, all that stuff. So feel free to go to drboystockmarket.com. Also, a reminder, the All Black National Conventions this week. We're going to be in Atlanta. I want to remind everybody that we do have that bonus day on Sunday, and it's going to be a full day of nothing more than just a bunch of economic stuff. Like now, my wife will be there. She's going to do mental health and therapy and building strong families. That's what she's an expert in. And then we're going to have like literally 60 experts that are going to be there, as well as like thousands of people that are going to come together for the cause of Black economic independence and sovereignty. And one thing I'm very proud of with the All Black National Convention is that a lot of other events and spaces have been kind of shut down because the government money got cut, DEI programs got cut, corporate sponsorships got cut. I was prepared for this from the very beginning. We never took money from those other places. I don't take money unless it's sturdy money, and that's really important for you to understand when it comes to investing. We've never really went out soliciting sponsors. We never went to the government for money, none of that stuff, because we didn't want anybody infiltrating what we were trying to do. And literally this year, through strategic partnerships with other Black people, we're actually able to make our convention bigger than ever. So when everybody else is shrinking, we're growing. When they're suffering, oh, we're as vibrant as ever. And we're not just getting together to do this. We are making Black history. We are sitting together in alignment with the vision of the great Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington started the National Business League because he had a vision of Black economic independence. If you go to Tuskegee, you see a powerful institution that he had the vision to create. You have a tremendous leadership that has occurred in your community. Marcus Garvey was in alignment with what Booker T. Washington was doing. No disrespect to what anybody else believed or what anybody else was trying to do, but that Booker T. Washington vision, that was the right vision all along. And so we're partnering with the Black Business League. Dr. Ken Harris, who has a doctorate in economics and Africana studies from Michigan State University, he reached out to me last year and said, I'd like to partner with the All Black National Convention and make Black history. So they're doing their 125th year anniversary. I'm co-hosting with him. We're doing our 10th anniversary of the All Black National Convention, and literally we are able to move however we want to move because the goal really is sovereignty. There's no shortcut to economic independence. There's no DEI check anybody can ever write, not even a damn reparations check. I'm not nothing against, I think reparations are owed. If they ask me, should we get it? I'll say absolutely. But remember, the word reparations is long for it's part of the word repair, right? Repair, that doesn't mean repair by white people. It just means repair. So I'm not saying that you should have the responsibility for repairing yourself, but I am here to tell you that you do have the capability to repair yourself. Because I'll be damned if I'm gonna be sitting on the corner, with a bus ticket, waiting on massa to come pick me up. You're a damn man. You a grown ass woman. You are smart. You are powerful. You are capable. You ain't supposed to be begging for nothing from nobody. You ain't supposed to be nobody's punk. You are a winner. You're supposed to be on top. So go handle your business. Run your family as a family business. Run your life like a business. Be the CEO of your last name. Take pride in who you are and what you got instead of wasting all your damn energy chasing what he got. He ain't got nothing across town that can't be created by you in a better fashion. It'll be blacker and more beautiful when you finally create it. It just might take some time. So make the sacrifice, build real power, and don't go copying all this nonsense where you got people out here pretending to have power, but they got it in 2 weeks. You don't get real power in 2 weeks. It takes a sacrifice. So we've been sacrificing for 10 years, and we can truly say that we have paid our own bills the entire time. We have never once sat around and said, "Oh my God, what if they cut? What if Ford doesn't write a check this year? We're in big trouble, or we're gonna go boycott so and so because they won't give us the DEI." I'm no disrespect to people that are doing that, but I don't think that that's real power. That's not real black power. Black power, it comes from not just economic independence, but it comes from a mindset that leads to institution building. So not only do you have to change the way you view your economics, you have to change the way you view everything, even the way you educate your kids. Stop training them to go get jobs working for other people because all you're doing is you're feeding the system. You're turning your children into a commodity, like oil going into a car. You're turning them into oil, and the oil is feeding into the engine of somebody else's thing. I want to learn how to build the damn engine. Build the engine, then go get the oil. So if your kid is going to college and they are smart and they're learning accounting or science or whatever, make sure they know how to start a business. How do you build an institution from the ground up? If you go work for other people, learn what they know so you can then take that skill and apply it to creating something of your own. And then what happens is not only are you typically going to be more successful long term if you can make it work, but then also your success translates to other people. It scales. It scales. So instead of being a smart Negro with a job, you're the smart black man who created 1,000 jobs or 50 jobs or 12 jobs. I don't know what the number is, but you have the ability to become what I refer to as an economic god. An economic god is a person that has the ability to manifest things. They're not signing the back of a check, they're signing the front of checks because they're making investments that lead to various economic manifestations. I ain't signed the back of a check since I don't know when, but I'm always signing the front. I sign the front because I make investments and I have a manifestation and I call my team. I say, I've got this idea, this vision, this thing I want to do. And then I say, okay, here's the check. Let's make it happen. Let's write the money. Let's write the check. Let's get it out there. Let's get it in and make it real. You should be able, and this is a skill you can learn. This is a skill you can teach your kids. If you can manifest your own reality, you're not really spending a lot of time being mad about some other reality manifest by somebody else. That's my point. And I really want to encourage you to grab that power because you already have it. You just have to tap into it. You have to get the skill set that matches that, and you have to make that part of your family culture. And I'm gonna tell you, in your community, you already have people that understand this. I believe the Nation of Islam understands this. The Hebrew Israelites understand this. The people who are who grow up in entrepreneurship families, they understand this. So I just want all of us to get this too. Know that you always have options. Never let anybody tell you you ain't got no options. To hell with you. You're gonna tell me I'm trapped in the corner. I got to do what you say. This ain't slavery, fool. I'm not your little, I'm not your daughter. Okay. This is this is not happening. So let's be strong. We got this. Okay. Don't be scared. You got this. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here. It's great to see you. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening. And by the way, if you're not on the text list for this class, so we do this every day, 7 days a week, every morning at 10 a.m. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have to cancel though because I've got something I got to do at that time. And then also during the convention, I'm gonna have to cancel a couple classes because the convention's wild. It's crazy. It's a thing. And by the way, if you just want to roll through, like if you don't have a ticket and you're in Atlanta and you just want to come in, there's stuff to do, right? There's free stuff as well. So just come on down. Just come and say hi, give me a hug, all that stuff, all right? And so we're gonna be in Atlanta all week. For Thursday, we're going to Tuskegee on Wednesday. We're piling up a bus and we're gonna go down to visit Tuskegee. I look forward to meeting the president, Dr. Mark Brown. He runs a tight ship. It's real. I felt when we dropped our daughter off, I felt safe. Like I felt like, okay, so he's like a military dude, and he's solid. I like this guy, so I look forward to meeting him. And then the later on in the week is when we do pretty much everything, like anything you want to do. It's the greatest gathering ever, in my opinion. So anyway, have a good day, everybody. God bless you. And if you want to be on the text list for this class, text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948. If you live in another country, just go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com, and I'll email you the Zoom